Visitor Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's an honour to speak on this, the Budget 2013 Appropriations. And, sir, I would not be doing justice without replying to some of the comments Mr. Cunliffe has made. And, sir, may I first say congratulations on your leadership pitch here this morning. But with two fellow travellers in your camp, sir, that man will not be leader, not in the next week and not in the next month, and likely not this century. But he has some skills, sir, and he has pointed out what a great job that this government is doing, and it's a pleasure, sir, to talk about real leadership, not fake leadership that man just demonstrated. Real leadership comes from the Prime Minister, John Key, by focusing on the things that matter. And while members opposite there will focus on leaks, scaremongering and leadership spills within the Labor Party, the national government continues to focus on the economy, on jobs, on opportunities for our people, and on focusing on the crisis that has hit this country around the Fonterra milk scare, and we're showing leadership in that department, sir. And this budget confirms, sir, what most New Zealanders know. The 50% in polls that are saying they would vote for National, not the 30% that would vote for Labor, the 50% that say they'll vote for National because they want leadership. They want demonstrated, proven leadership, sound leadership. And John Key demonstrates that every day that he's out in our communities, every day that he's in this House and in the beehive leading our country. And it confirms that we're on the right track. We're on the right track with economic growth. We're on the right track with more jobs being created, and we're on the right track, sir, in terms of the rising wages that are occurring in this country. And members opposite have asked, where are the jobs? Well, sir, the jobs are online, they're in newspapers, and I looked at SEEK before I came down to the House this morning. 16,255 jobs are available on SEEK. 12,956 of those are full-time. 1,027 are part-time. That's right, 2,000 are contract jobs. Over 16,000 jobs are out there in our communities, and those are just the advertised jobs. There are thousands of other jobs available. And what the issue is, sir, is that we need to get people skilled, we need to get people motivated to take up those jobs that are on offer in our communities. So, sir, we're responsibly managing the government's books. We're managing the government's books, and we know that we're going to reach a projected surplus in the next 2 financial years, sir. We're building a more competitive and productive economy, trying to create jobs out there, whether it be mining, whether it be convention centres. But all I know, sir, all I know is that members opposite, including Ms Beaumont, members opposite can't stand the fact that we're creating an environment where jobs are being created. People are taking on jobs, they're feeding and clothing their families, and they're independent from a government, a former Labor government that promoted reliance and promoted dependence on that government. So what are we doing? What are we doing in terms of housing? Then one of the big issues, when I go around my electorate of Maunga Kēkē, housing affordability is a real issue. And we know Carol Beaumont didn't get voted in. I love it. It's Carol Beaumont is running in Manukau East. The people of Manukau East know it. She's going for selection in Manukau East, but she might live in Epsom South, but she's running for Manukau East. But anyway, we know that 39,000 jobs, 39,000 houses need to be built in the next 3 years. What is this government doing? We're working with councils. There's a social accord with a housing accord with Auckland Council, whereby we're going to free up land in special housing areas. So that is particularly important because housing affordability is critical to our economic growth. It's critical to the lives of New Zealanders, and particularly in my community in Maunga Kēkē, it's critical to those that want to have their own homes. So what are we doing, sir? We're streamlining the Resource Management Act. And Amy Adams is reducing red tape around building of new houses, supported by Nick Smith, by introducing 6-month consenting limits for medium-sized projects. We know the Honourable Maurice Williamson is also doing a fine job in the building sector, bringing together parties who are looking to build houses at lower costs and to build those houses faster through a consenting process that supports economic growth. We're launching an inquiry into building material costs. We know that building houses in New Zealand are 30% higher, sir, in terms of cost than building houses in Australia. So we've asked the question, we're inquiring into it, we're investigating that, and we will bring a review that will make changes to the building industry, sir. We're also reviewing development contributions and compliance costs, because we know, sir, that red tape and bureaucracy, and I talk to the developers in South Auckland, I talk to the developers in Maungakeke, they are telling me that red tape and bureaucracy is one of the worst things that can occur, that dampens development, dampens economic growth and dampens jobs. And it's about investing in skills to boost that productivity of the construction centre. At Onehunga High School, my local high school, they have a construction school, a building and construction school that supports the industry in terms of building more houses faster, sir. We also have trades academies across this nation, and those young kids, and I talked to those young kids, and the Prime Minister and I visited Onehunga High School 2 months ago, talking to the kids. They are aspirational. They want jobs. They want to participate in our community, and that's why the programs that National is delivering in this budget are working, and New Zealanders know it. Sir, the other thing that this government is doing is creating an economic framework from which jobs and opportunities can be created. An economic framework. So we've seen some of the lowest interest rates in New Zealand for a number of years. It's those interest rates that save money for those who are paying mortgages. So low inflation rates, lowest inflation rates. So businesses know with certainty when they make investment decisions, when they make their decisions in terms of hiring people, they know that with low inflation, low interest rates, they can make some of those decisions with a greater degree of certainty and confidence and trust, not just in the government but in the economy, sir. And Labor is silent on this. What they are not silent on is their anti-growth policies. Their anti-growth, their anti-growth in terms of they belong in the pocket of the faceless men in the unions of this country. And Mr. Cunliffe, in his speech that he just said, referred to the unions because the unions are in his pocket. He needs the unions to defeat Shearer in a leadership spill. So that's why he mentions the unions in every speech he makes in this House. It's disgusting. They talk about cronyism. That is disgusting, sir. So Mr. Cunliffe should think seriously about the sorts of speeches he makes in this House referring to the faceless men that support him. That's right. So we know that economic growth is the highest in 5 years, and compared to Australia, sir, it's higher than almost every other developed country. Every other developed country. And I challenge members opposite to go for a visit to America, go for a visit to Europe and parts of Africa, and they'll realise what a great country we live in, what a good government and sound government that is promoting growth and the opportunities in this country, and they'll realise that wages are growing and cost of living increases have been extremely modest in the last few years. My colleague, Mr. Young, referred to the low inflation rate, 0.7 in the last year, 0.7%. So, sir, we know that this government is on the right track. We know that we're promoting growth and opportunities. But we also know that we're a government that has compassion. We're a government that is insulating 46,000 more homes for low-income families with a $100 million investment in this budget. We know that we're a government that is increasing budget services. One of the biggest issues in my electorate office, budgeting services, we're increasing it by 17%, 17% to over $10.5 million. So we know that this is a compassionate government that is providing over $190 million over 4 years for welfare reforms. And why? Because we're work testing people to get back into work. And what are we also doing, sir? We're providing $46.8 million to extra income-related rent subsidies that will open up the community housing sector to provide for those families that are most in need. So warmer, drier homes and subsidised homes for the poor. That's what this government is delivering for those most in need in our society, sir. So I summarise Sir, I say that this government, with this budget, is delivering on the matters, on the issues that matter to all New Zealanders. We're a compassionate government. We've got sound, prudential, conservative policies that are delivering for New Zealanders right across this country. Thank you, sir.
Your 5-minute call.